Hello, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley here with you. It is 10 o'clock here on our Tuesday evening, giving you an update on what's been going on. We've had a good amount of flooding across the area, not something we want to see, certainly something that we've been dealing with, for days it seems, right? This has been a situation that's been plaguing us now ever since Tropical Storm Chantal rolled through a couple of Sundays ago. This has still been an issue that we have to deal with. And each and every time that it comes, it's not fun, but boy, are we getting used to it, I guess. So this is about 10 o'clock tonight. We're going to keep this going for about 10, 15 minutes, give you an update on what's been happening, what's still happening, what you need to worry about going into tomorrow morning. So thanks for being here along for this update here on WFMY Plus. And let's get right to it. So first off, I'm going to start to pop up the radar here and show you who's under the gun right now, because this is something that is changing minute by minute, hour by hour. It's never the same situation twice. It's always getting a little bit different. So we're looking at a flash flood warning until about 3 in the morning now for Mount Airy. So earlier today, the areas that got the big flooding earlier were Burlington, Alamance County, parts of Graham, Guilford County, parts of Greensboro, the northern half of the county especially getting hit hard. Now that's different. Now it's Surry County and the foothills. So this has all been mostly coming to the fore in the last hour. So let's zoom in and show you what we have going on. This is that area that's been flooding now. Mount Airy, Surry County, very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning, but you're noticing that it's already starting to change. So this is just a loop of radar for the last 1 hour. If I put this back, let's say 3 hours, you'll notice at 7 o'clock tonight, nothing was going on there. Since then, downpour rain just kind of overran the area. And it really got going, not even right about 8:45. So at 8:45, a thunderstorm developed over here. That's a little over 2 hours ago. Since then, hasn't stopped. Just torrential flooding. And in that period of time, we're seeing some bad results. So in the city of Mount Airy right now, lots of reports of flooding going on. It's not a good situation. This is right now. So this is all happening currently. Let's check out some of these reports here. So this is in Surry County, of course. We had reports of cars submerged, Worth Street and Newsom Street. And there's history of flooding in Mount Airy. The Ararat River is there. Most historic cities and towns are built on rivers and streams, right? There's reason for this. This is where you wanted to build a town back in the day. You want a water source, but they flood. This is Galax Trail and Andy Griffith Parkway. So that area too is flooded. That's over in this part of town. So over in this general area, right by 52 and Galax Trail, they've had some reports of flooding. Elsewhere in the city, where else are we looking at? Heard about something by the middle school. This was near Hamburg Street, I believe, by Mount Airy Area Middle School, and also Newsom Street. So lots of different problems with flooding, but also trees down. So there have been a number of issues that you could look to on a night like tonight. That's all in Mount Airy. How much rain has fallen up here? A lot. So this is, again, mostly just within the last 2 hours, like we said. A lot of rain. So if we put some numbers here on, this is just an estimate. 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. Too much. This weather pattern is absolutely crazy. We've been seeing this for a while, where we have too much water, too much water to deal with, and part of the problem. So part of the problem is this. We have this weather pattern right now where you have all the humidity in the world. It's hot, it's sticky. Every single day, we're going to heat up and we're going to have these storms bubbling up. And there's not really anything to push them along. So when they're bubbling up and they're forming, they're sitting and they're not moving and not making progress. And when that's the case, when you're not moving these things along, you're in trouble. Because that's when you just get the rain and keep the rain, and it keeps on coming, keeps on coming. That's the problem. So it's not something we want to see. Not something we want to see. So that's the situation right now in Mount Airy. Will it improve? Will it go away? Yeah, we're already seeing the end game here. Notice how, once you start to see the reds turn to greens, That's the torrential rain going back to moderate rain, and it doesn't usually go back the other direction. So that's kind of the beginning of the end for the flooding problems. What I'll tell you, though, is let's find the next flood. And at this point, to me, it looks like the next flood would be over here in Wilkes County. So that's the new storm going up, and probably it'll cluster up with this one over in Wilkesboro, and that'll be the next one that we'll have to track for you later tonight. Back home at the Triad, things are going pretty well compared to earlier. Steady rain is going on in Rockingham County, not a big issue. Stokes County, lots of rain too. Forsyth County, you've kind of just been watching. You've kind of been watching the rest of the Triad go at it most of the day. Now, Walkertown, you've had a lot of rain. That's where that flood warning still exists. That's where you did get a lot of rain earlier today. Greensboro, a mess. Not everywhere, but a mess. This was mostly earlier. Most of these problems have started to go away. But Buffalo Creek, look at this. Buffalo Creek rose about 10 feet in an hour. And that's something we all know about. If you live in Greensboro, you know to avoid Buffalo Creek when it rains. Boy, do you got to do that. But that's been going on. No surprise. Water rescues happened earlier today, Reedy Fork Road. Big issues, right by 29. And up in Gibsonville, the Reedy Fork Creek, the Reedy Fork area, that stream looks like this tonight. So there's big flooding here. And that's part of the danger, right? So you have darkness, it's pitch black dark. The creek's still doing this. It continues even as we lose the sunlight. So what do you do if you're traveling along northeast Guilford County and you're near the Reedy Fork? If it's not barricaded, you could be in trouble. If you drive into something like this, you're in trouble. So that's part of the danger, part of the education part that we deal with on the meteorology side is let's make sure that people know the dangers when it comes to floodwaters, the dangers when it comes to any kind of moving water at all. Because it is a danger, and it doesn't always look like it. There might be someone here that thinks they can get through that. You can't. You can't get through it. This earlier today, Greensboro 2. Hillcroft Road is right there north of the urban loop. It's just by the Yanceyville Street exit, not far from 29. Look at this. Creek turned into a bit of a river. It's right near Terrapin Court. Travis McDaniel did a good job of showing us where this was. That was earlier tonight, closer to 6 o'clock this evening. A little bit earlier as well, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, Burlington was a mess. This flooding happened very quickly. It's called flash flooding for a reason. It is flash flooding. Flash means it comes up and goes down fast. And you don't have a lot of time to react, and that was the case in Burlington. A lot of folks helping out. There were, police officers on scene directing traffic. Appreciate their help for sure, but man, oh man, what a mess. Some other pictures I could show you. We did get a couple rainbows earlier today. That was nice. But let's take a look at Buffalo Creek. So we have this camera over there. This is around 6 o'clock this evening. The creek is going to go up, and then it goes down. So right now it's back to normal. But I said flash flooding. That's kind of the way that it works. Up and down, up and down. Latest look at your flood warnings this evening. Most of them have been allowed to expire. The flood warnings are in the dark red. I know that might not make sense, but that's the color the Weather Service uses. So for this evening, Mount Airy, front of mind, the freshest, that's happening right now. There is still a flood watch for our northern counties. Be safe. Just, with all this stuff, just be safe and smart is what I can tell you. We do have a flood risk that continues several more hours, but, we're nearing the tail end of today, of course. It's already 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, important to mention, the flood risk for Wednesday is lower. This is the first time in a while that our flood risk is lower. So that's kind of good to see, that flood risk should be going down. And here's our Futurecast take on the situation. I'm actually going to show you two models, and we can compare the two. So this is what we call the rapid refresh model. Let's take a look at that. It fizzles these things out pretty quickly tonight, getting us kind of out of here by around 3. And then for tomorrow, could some more stuff pop up? Yeah, it could, but I don't think it'll be that busy. Certainly compared to the last couple of days, hopefully it's quieter. It's been very busy. That's all we can say. It's been very busy for a long time, and I think we're getting a little sick of it. Our Futurecast does pop some storms. It has a very hot day of weather too. This is around 4 p.m., and then they go away. So if we're lucky, there's less staying power with any storms that are out and about the area for tomorrow. Hopefully we don't have quite as much to talk to you about. Hopefully we don't have any flooding, because this is getting a little bit ridiculous. Rain totals select from today. It depends on where you are. The Burlington Airport got 4 inches of rain. That's wild. And this is just really excessive stuff. So we talked about who got the most. It's crazy. You know, a widespread area getting 3 to 6 inches of rainfall after just recently going through all of this is pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts to see this just kind of continuing for a while. So anyway, quite a bit of rainfall earlier today. Certainly expect tomorrow to be a quieter day of weather, and hopefully that's the case. Just a quick moment or two on why this has been going on. So getting a lot of questions about, you know, I don't remember it storming like this before. I don't remember a July being this wet. What's the deal? Why is this happening? It's a great question. It's a fair question, because this is not what we would typically see. I looked it up. Oddly enough, last July, we did have about 10 inches of rain in Greensboro. So this does happen sometimes, but that wasn't as impactful as this. If it was, I'd remember it. Part of the reason for all of this has to do with the weather setup, of course. So there are a couple factors at play. We have the jet stream really far north. It always is in the summertime. There's no big shock about that. No big surprise. However, I think it's worth mentioning that you're not going to get any cool or dry air if that jet stream is way up there. Sometimes you might get an abnormal dip. We haven't seen that in the summer this year, and that's probably not going to happen. More importantly is over here. Your high pressure area is pretty key. We haven't had a big, nice high pressure sitting over us or closer to us in a while. It's been weeks. And the fact that it's taking that long to come by makes it harder and harder for showers and storms to, well, basically you can't stop them. High pressure stops the storms from happening because it pushes on the atmosphere. When you have high pressure in place, what it does is it pushes on the earth, and it makes it harder for the air to go up. And when it's harder for the air to go up, you don't get as many clouds, you don't get as many storms. We don't have that right now. And on top of that, too, we have all of this crazy humidity. So all that crazy humidity is coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. It's taking a while to go away. And so with all this humidity and all that moisture just invading our area, it's not just us either. Most of the East Coast is dealing with this. You get stuck with a really hot and humid summer. A really hot and humid summer. And moreover, without much wind to blow these things around, you get stuck with stalling thunderstorms, storms that don't move. And that's not what we want to see. That's what we've been seeing, though. The flash flooding is happening because the showers and storms just aren't moving. If they moved along, we'd still be wet, but we'd be okay. Right now, we're not okay. Oh, did I mention there's a tropical system that might form this week? There is one. Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, whatever you prefer to call it. That's where this is going to be impacting. I don't expect many impacts around here. So that's kind of what we're seeing. That's what I'm tracking for you. Thanks for having us here this evening. Of course, I'll have more impact or more updates on the weather at 11 o'clock. For now, I'll leave you with the radar. as we get going here. Again, see you on News 2 at 11 this evening. We'll have more on that flooding that's happening right now in Mount Airy and, of course, your extended forecast.